Right, today we've got not one but two exciting new devices to show off. The Amazon Echo Dot Max, which is a whole new speaker for the Echo range, as is this one, to be fair, although it has an old name. This is the new Echo Studio. And if you have heard that name before, that's because it was being used for this speaker here, which is very big and very heavy. It was probably the best performing speaker up till now. Very large, very heavy, and if you can't really see in there, but there's basically a downward firing subwoofer in there for big bass. So this is the speaker that I would pair up with other speakers in a room to sort of act as a subwoofer, really, to add a bit of extra bass and a bit of extra power to the mix when teamed up with other smaller speakers. That worked really well. So as you can see, if I can pick them both up at once, so this is the new Echo Studio here. This is the old one. So they basically called this a 40% smaller speaker. It looks at least 40% smaller, and obviously it is now spherical and not cylindrical, which makes quite a difference. So you would wonder, what's the sound like? Is it as powerful? Does it have the excellent bass? That's sort of up for debate. It does actually have a high excursion woofer in there, which is part of the body of the speaker, and there are three other drivers in there to really produce an all around sound effect. The sound is pretty good. I am going to demonstrate that for you shortly, but if we just go back to the Dot Max for a minute, so compared to a Dot, I do have a couple of other older Dots here. If I can just grab one for you. So this is sort of like what the older Dot would look like. This one, it has these sort of front-facing controls here now instead of these raised buttons on it. And once again, they've included a high excursion woofer in here as well, along with its main speaker. So you're definitely getting more bass and a better all-round sound. No question about it with the speaker. It is a little bit bigger than the previous Dot, so I guess that's why it's the Max. I'm just plugging it in so we can do a bit of a demo. Hopefully here we go. It's firing up. So excitingly, as part of this new range of speakers from Amazon, you can create an Alexa home theater experience. So I'll have more on that for you shortly. As soon as this fires up, I did just want a demo how this one works. So it's just a steady evolution of previous Amazon speakers. And I have before, when I've tried to demonstrate how good a speaker is, I've sort of played something bassy so you can get the bass response. But what about something that sounds nice as an acoustic, and you want that nice warm sound? So let's try this. Amazon, play Miles Davis.
This is Miles Davis from Spotify.
Amazon, set the volume to 6. So I'm hoping that that's coming across for you. What you won't be getting, probably, unless you're for some reason listening to this video on a really good stereo, or through some really good speakers, it is just a really nice big sound. Despite the speaker's small stature, it can really fill a room. And obviously, if you get two of them, you can pair them as a stereo pair. It just does not have the same number of speakers in it built into it, as does the Echo Studio. And if you get a pair of those, then you can do something really exciting. You can create your home theatre experience. Right, so to set up the Alexa Home Theatre experience, you come into your settings menu here, and chuck along to display and audio, and top of the list there is Alexa Home Theatre. And so here's where you can, create your Alexa Home Theatre. And so when you do, you get this menu of all the Alexa devices that you can use for a home theatre. But you'll see my issue here. So I've got the left-hand Echo Studio, the right-hand Echo Studio, things like my Echo Pop, my old Echo Studio, there's other dots there. And then my Echo Dot Max is there as well, but I can't select that, it's grayed out. So if we go back to here, and if we unselect those two, everything's available at that point. But if I select that, then everything else gets grayed out. So I can't select the Dot Max with the Echo Studio. And I don't know why, because to me the Dot Max would be the perfect rear surround sound speaker. You compare up to 5 of the new speakers to create a home theatre, so presumably a centre, left and right, and 2 rear speakers, but they've got to be all exactly the same model. I'd have to have all Dot Maxes or all Echo Studios. So yeah, that's a real shame. That's what I was hoping to do, but instead, yeah, I can just choose the 2 Echo Studios that I have now. And then you go onto this screen. And that's the calibration process, just like that. And then at that point, it's pretty much set up and ready to use. Just to give you a little demo, there might be some strong language in Spanish and some violence here, but it's to demonstrate how clever the sound is. So let's, as you can see, when I turn it up, you get that little display on the Echo Studios. If we take it up to about 3/4 of the way, all the way up, and see how this sounds. So you get really good music and the sound of the bullets and chains and everything. There's plenty of guts to it. I don't feel like I'm missing out on having a subwoofer connected to this. Gunshots sound really neat. And the other thing that I've noticed is that with dialogue over music and stuff like that, that's really clear to hear as well. So really, the only thing I'm missing here is rear speakers. Yes, so I was a little bit gutted about that, because what I thought I was going to be able to do is have a pair of these at the front and then a pair of these at the back. They'd make the perfect surround sound rear speakers, if you ask me. I don't know why you can't do that, but yeah, if you're having to do 4 Echo Studios, that's really overkill, if you ask me, because they're about $500 a pop, so then that's $2,000. And yeah, with that $2,000, I think you'd be better off getting something that's specifically made for the job. However, interesting experiment, and great speakers in their own right, and a really another interesting step in the evolution of Amazon Alexa and Amazon Echo.